1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Almost a weekend and you don't know what to do. Or you just need something fun to listen to.
Southside Pod!
Yes, we're on the air. And the gang's all here, all things on the South Side. You're listening to the Southside Pod. Looking for the best Southside breweries. Or you might just need an awesome place to eat.
Southside Pod!
Mount Greenwood, Evergreen, Blue Island, Beverly, Payless, and Allsup too. You're tuned into the Southside Pod.
Southside Pod!
Oakland, Midlothian,
Southside Pod!
Oak Forest, Chicago Ridge, Flossmoor, and Bridgeview. You're listening to Southside Pod.
So now we've talked so much about raising kids on this show.
Right.
And I have now entered into unknown territory. Parenting an 18-year-old that's still in the house.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was 18, the moment I turned 18, I was like, I'm an adult. I can do what I want.
And then your parents said, then, yeah, you can move out then, right?
That's what I did. Yeah, I did the same thing to her, too.
Right, yeah.
I was like, well, or you can move out. And she's like, what? I'm like, you could move out? That sounds like a great idea. Like, you should get a job in an apartment because you could do what you want. And then there was just like that blank look on her face. I was like, or we can just act like an adult because now you're an adult and you won't challenge your father.
Yeah.
And we'll kind of keep things the same. And I'll give you a few more things that you didn't get beforehand. Like, I might give you a little bit more leeway. You definitely don't have a curfew anymore, right? But I mean, you don't have a legal curfew. I'm going to let you stay out later, but you're not coming home at 4 a.m, right? Because the doors here lock and get chained at a certain time, right? So, I mean, like, that's kind of like where I'm at. Because, like, I always did the same thing my dad did, especially with the curfew. What's the legal curfew in the county, or what's the legal curfew in the city? Like, we used to live in Chicago at the time. And I would go, like, a legal curfew in Chicago is 10:30 on the weeknights, Friday and Saturday nights, 11:30.
Right?
And then the TV stations would remind you at 10 o'clock, it's 10 o'clock, do you know where your children are?
Right, exactly.
And half of the city would go,
We have
nobody knows
children?
where the children
No
are.
idea.
Not
No
at
clue.
all.
Think they're at the mall?
No.
What mall?
Yeah. And so that was what my rule always was. But now, if she's 18, fine. You want to stay out with your friends until midnight? Great. But it's still midnight.
Yeah.
It's still like you're going to get a little bit more freedom, but not all the freedom in the world. Now, I mean, like, look, I'm realistic. She's going to go off to college.
Yeah.
The girl
that's kind of when, you know.
And she still has some high school in front of her. She's still got some responsibilities.
I know, but she's got a 4.1 GPA. She's got multiple, like she's already gotten, like, a bunch of college credits with all of her AP stuff. She's got like a 32 on her ACT natural score. Okay, not even these kids get to combine their scores now, which is garbage. I did really good on math in this one. I did really good in English on the other one, so I'm going to put them together and have a bigger score.
You get to take the partials from two different tests
and
put
make
them
a
together?
bigger score. Now, some schools don't take it, but some do. But she's got a good natural score. She's been accepted into so many colleges so far already.
How many?
How many colleges?
I think she's at 6 so far.
Nice.
Oh, wow. That's actually really good.
And the ones that she wants to go to won't send her anything until January, they told her. So U of I and Purdue won't send her anything. She got Texas A&M, Alabama, Louisville. Like, there's a bunch of them that she's got. A couple of ones that I've never heard of. Like some architecture school in Milwaukee that's like $50,000 a year. And they gave her a $25,000 scholarship. I'm like, it's still $25,000 a year.
Milwaukee School of Engineering?
We ain't got, that one.
That's a great school.
I've never heard of it.
That's a great school.
She was accepted right in.
Yeah.
And they gave her a $25,000 a year scholarship.
MSc.
Yeah.
It's a great school.
And I was like, that's wonderful.
And just far enough away.
Still really expensive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, still really expensive.
That's a lot of loans.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, I think she's collected like $350,000 in scholarships already that she's won. Like, I mean, she's killing it, right? So she's going to go away to school.
Making more money than you are.
She's smart. Oh, yeah. She's the big earner in the house. The big earner in the house. She's going to go away to school. And when she goes away to school, I know what it's like. Like, my parents had a rule. Call me every Sunday to prove that you're alive.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, right?
My mom would call and check on me on Fridays, and then I was supposed to call her on Sundays.
It was the rule was no matter what, we want to hear from you on Sunday to know you're alive. But then, as my parents said, you're out of sight, you're out of mind.
Yeah.
I have to trust at that point that I've raised you well.
Did they,
so I see this period now from 18 until the day she goes off to whatever campus she's going to next August as
like pre-adulthood.
I'm going to give you more freedoms. I'm not crazy. Okay. So you're not getting away with everything, But then I also am aware of that, like, I know she's going to go down to the college campus, and within the first week, she's going to be out until 3 o'clock in the morning someplace.
Well, that's what you do.
At a house
the
party
first day you're
with
supposed
a
to
red
do
cup
That's what you do.
drinking. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's what she's going to be doing. Like, I know it because I was there. I know it. I know what's going to happen. So, but the thing is, like, while she's in the house, there still has to be some structure because the next one's watching. And the one after that.
What can I get away with?
Right, exactly.
And they
So I
always
thought-
get away with a little more.
I know, man. The youngest
Great
guy.
to be the youngest.
guy.
It's great to be the
youngest guy's
youngest.
going to be jumping off the roof into the pool while I'm
And
sipping
you're not
Mai
even going to
Tais.
be home. You're going to be out dating your.
Wandering the
You're
earth,
hot
solving
with
By
problems.
that time, yeah, man,
Yeah.
I'll be in my mid-50s, and I'll be
Be
like,
like, Nikki, I'll leave you a 50
Hey,
on the
Nikki,
countertop for pizza.
how's everything going here tonight, buddy? He's like, good, Dad. We
Did you feed the dog?
We just got a couple of people over. I'm like, what's a couple of people, bud? Oh, I got about 30, 40 people in the pool right now. All right,
Just make sure you clean up.
clean up afterwards, and I'll see you in the morning. Yeah, because he's the youngest kid.
Right,
But he's a long way away from that. And by the way, that's a joke in case any lawyers in the divorce are listening. That's clearly a joke.
No, it's not going to happen.
This episode of Southside Pod and every episode of Southside Pod brought to you by Family Waterproofing Solutions, bowing walls, window wells, foundation crack repairs, sump pumps, gutter cleaning, anything that has to do with keeping water out of your basement. And you heard in the ad at the beginning of the show, Express Service. It's on their website. You know what you want. You see the cost right on the website. It's right there for you. No nonsense. Order and schedule online immediately. Get quick service. Your basement's best defense is at familydry.com. Sitting down here at the 9-foot homemade oak bar, sipping on something other than the normal libations at the bar. We're having a cup of joe, a cup of coffee with Lorenzo Spearman. Lorenzo is, first of all, a Marine Corps vet. Hoorah.
Hurrah.
I always also notice that when I get a vet, especially when they started a company, they are probably the calmest business people that I meet. And they are just the most put together individuals, and they are so well prepared. Like you came over here, you brought hot coffee, you brought an entire tray with all the fixins, depending on what I wanted to have with the coffee. It was perfectly organized, and you brought extra cups just in case. I mean,
Absolutely.
you are overly prepared, and much like a Marine would be, and you own United Grinds, and this coffee place, the reason I brought this on Southside Pod is a Southside business establishment that is not only making really good coffee, and we'll get into the coffee here that you poured for me, but also doing it for a good cause. Tell people a little bit about what you're doing. It's for the homeless, correct?
It is. It is. I created United Grinds Coffee with the idea of raising funds for the homeless. My background is in homeless service providing. I was a manager of a homeless shelter on the west side of Chicago for many years, and it became part of me. It's my heart. It's my passion. So anytime that I can do anything to help the Chicagoland homeless, I certainly want to. During the pandemic, though, we weren't able to make it down there to pass things out and offer encouragement and such to the homeless because of the pandemic. Everybody was locked down. So I was trying to think of a way that I could support the homeless just by donating.
Right.
And I don't mean directly out of my pocket anymore. If I could create a business that would generate some funds that I could donate, that would.
So this whole business is born out of the idea of providing for the homeless. This isn't like you had a business and you said, on the side, I'm going to throw a little bit here towards the homeless because it's a good story and it looks good on my website. This is something you literally created because you wanted to give some support.
Absolutely. It was the purpose of the company was to help the homeless. Yes.
And so is it monetary? Is it something where like you're giving to another group and that group is then providing things like, clothing, shelter, stuff like that?
Yes. It would be shelters like the homeless shelter at 2735 West Harrison. I think it's called the Franciscan Outreach. When I'm able to make a donation to those folks, I certainly want to. They're one of my go-to charities. And also Pacific Garden Mission and Hope House. We've also been able to make some donations in that way.
So tell me a little bit about the coffee I'm having, because I was telling you as you were pouring it that I was not a coffee drinker for most of my life.
I understand.
And to be honest with you, the coffee that I got hooked on first was like a Starbucks vanilla latte with a bunch of whipped cream in it. You know, I mean, like, it was like one of those things where it was like somebody finally offered, like, I had to go to, I want to say maybe even a business meeting. I knew I was going to have to drink coffee. I knew that I was not a coffee drinker. And it was basically suggested to me, like, put as much sugar as possible in the thing, and then you might be able to get it. And I got kind of hooked on those. And I've only recently kind of switched to regular coffee, where I'm not putting a bunch of, like, you know, syrups in it and stuff like that, right? So, like, but there was the possibility when you poured this, I thought to myself, I was like, I don't know, I might not like this. This is actually really, really good. I like this. You were telling me this is a Hawaiian bean. This is what this is. Tell me about this.
It is a Hawaiian bean. It's called Kona. The Kona bean is that I sell is 100% Kona. I don't mix it with anything. I don't dilute it out. You know, it's a pricey bean, so a lot of companies do. Meaning they do add.
They'll throw other beans in there? Is that how they work?
Just Arabica and just kind of mix it up and do it that way. I decided that when I created United Grinds that I was going to do the very best and provide the very best product that I could possibly provide. And 100% Kona is the very best coffee on the planet, simply put. It just is.
Everybody always thinks it's like Colombian coffee, right? I was taught that when in the 80s when I was watching those Folgers commercials where they were switching out the pure Colombian coffee. Like that's been ingrained into me as somebody that doesn't know enough about coffee. But I'm buying what you're saying because this is tasty.
Well, Colombian coffee is some of the best on the planet as well. I have a house blend that is blended with a Colombian coffee, and it's absolutely to die for.
This is an online coffee place, right?
It is.
So the idea is like you're not running a coffee shop. People go online, they order the beans, they brew their own coffee.
That is correct.
That's how this works. Okay,
that's how this works.
You go on the website. So it's unitedgrinds.com. I'll give you the plug there.
Thank you.
Although I did bring you in because I just thought it was neat how you were what you were doing, because I always find it really interesting when I come across. We've had a pizza place on recently on this show.
Yes.
And what they use their profits for.
Yes.
And what they do in the community. I find that stuff to be very interesting. You get somebody who has a business mind. They know they could go out and take over the world, right? Like for you're sitting there going, I could have just started a company doing anything and just made money off it, right? But you had a purpose as to why you wanted to go and do that. And so you go on this website, people order their coffee, it gets sent out to them. Is it a subscription? Is that how this works?
It can be.
Okay.
I do have some folks who subscribe. There's a subscription module there on the website.
I have a background in subscription coffees.
Oh, really?
Yes, but it was like it was a terrible company. So yours looks legitimate. I'll tell you the story about mine. Right when I got out of radio, I went to work for some guy like internet marketing company up around in Evanston. Okay, the name of the company was Peel Incorporated. I believe several of the people in charge of it, including the owner, went to jail at some point for what they were doing. And I was just looking for a way to make money, right? So at first, you were just buying ads and advertising, like sign up for such and such and get a chance to win this. It was all this like these BS ads that would pop up. Like it was the early 2000s, right? And then he decided he wanted to do a subscription coffee business. But he was just getting coffee, putting a label of his own over the top of somebody else's label, and then he was sending it out. And what he realized was with the subscription, he could just continue to hit their credit cards. So if you subscribe for a bag every month, it turns out he would send you a bag every week and hope that you just didn't realize how much coffee you're getting and how much he was charging you for the coffee. And I found out about it because somebody got through to my department by mistake when they were calling the complaint line. And I walked in and I asked him about it. He's like, oh yeah, that's what we're doing. I'm like, that's illegal. And he was like, yeah, but nobody's caught us yet. And I left and took a job someplace else. You have a legitimate coffee place that helps the homeless. I wanted to discern between the two of those things, because I think when people go online and they order things, it's hard to find something that's trustworthy.
Oh, sure.
To find something that's not only trustworthy, but something that actually is doing something good. I think this is something that people should take note of, and it's helping people on the South Side.
Oh, you can never be too careful, man. The scammers are out there, that's for sure. With the whole credit card things and interesting business models.
Yeah.
Stealing credit cards. What's that about? It's ridiculous.
I used to be. I started the company putting Facebook ads up for them, like buying time on Facebook when Facebook used to have ads on it. That's how long ago it was. Okay,
Wow.
And within a year and a half, we were running some kind of coffee scam. He was also giving away posters as well. He was doing posters for people's dorm rooms, and he had a list of different things. He was like, if I could just get people to subscribe to things and get their credit cards, the sky was the limit. That was what that guy was. I believe he served several years in jail. So, yeah, you on the other hand,
You don't have to worry about that with me. That's not something we do.
No. So, like, when you got this idea to go do this, does this come from the structure of being a Marine? Does this come from the amount of homeless veterans that are out there that I think is an epidemic in this country? Like, where did it originally come from, where you leave the Marine Corps and then you get involved with helping out the homeless and then eventually get to this company?
Well, you know what? It was some years after I left the Marines that someone just asked me to volunteer down at the House of Mary and Joseph homeless shelter in Chicago. And I did just for a night. Then they asked me to do it again. I did it for a few different evenings. And then I was approached by the management. They asked me, would I be interested in having a position there, a job there, because they saw how I interacted with the homeless folks. Now, it's a drug-ridden area. It's a tough neighborhood. But I'm a Marine.
Right.
I'm comfortable in my skin.
Exactly.
That doesn't bother me. So I developed a rapport with a lot of the homeless folks who are actually more vulnerable than they are dangerous, that's for sure. But the relationships that I formed down at the homeless shelter enabled me to actually reach more of the homeless people, because when they trust you, they'll actually come in from the weather. They'll come in and get a warm meal instead of sleeping on the streets.
Yeah, it's incredible what you're doing. I think it's very cool. The coffee's great. The coffee's great. Were
I'm
you always
glad
a
you
coffee
enjoy
drinker?
it. I've always been.
Is that why you picked it? Did you
is.
pick this business because you were a coffee drinker? And you're like, well, if I'm going to be doing something and I'm giving the money away.
I've given Starbucks thousands of my hard-earned dollars, that's for sure.
Compared to Starbucks, I'm curious, because I always feel like that those places are all these big markups and stuff like that. Getting the beans and doing it in your house, how much of a difference is that? As somebody who, to be honest with you, I'm one of these guys using the K-Cups right now.
Yeah.
So I got to figure out how to brew it myself to start using your coffee, to be honest with you. But it's so good, I might start considering doing that.
You can use the little adapter and put the coffee in there.
I didn't even know there was an adapter.
Yep, there certainly is.
The machine was left behind when my wife left, so I...
You got the machine.
I would call her up and ask her how to use it, but I don't want to talk to her.
Right.
So I gotta figure it out myself. But there's an adapter, you're telling me?
Yeah, it's just a little plastic adapter. You can put the coffee inside of it, put it on your machine, voila.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Deal. I'll make sure I grab you one and send it to you.
I love it. That's awesome. But I would imagine cost-wise, there's a big difference for people. So you're helping somebody out, and then by not going and spending it like a place like that where you're standing in line, they got the little screen, they're asking for a tip, and all they did was do the same thing somebody at McDonald's does. I mean, I think this would be more cost effective, right?
Yeah. Certainly for me, it's more cost effective because, man, I was living in Starbucks. It's unbelievable.
I have a teenage daughter who lives in Starbucks, and I sit there and I go, I don't know what you're doing and why you're spending. Like, she has a job, I feel, to feed her Starbucks habit. I haven't been able to figure that out at all. I will point her in your direction. Once again, it's unitedgrinds.com. Lorenzo Spearman was nice enough to bring me just an incredible cup of coffee. It's good, man.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.
I'm glad you enjoyed, my friend. Cheers.
I have a confession to make. It's true, and I'm guessing you have done the same thing. Put more time into thinking about what's for dinner than preparing for your retirement. But if you think your retirement needs deserve more attention, I agree with you, and I want to help you out. I've got a local, experienced, down-to-earth guy who's a friend of this show. He's got a get-to-know-you approach and do the right thing values, and he's been around for over 20 years right here on the South Side. His name is Tom Walsh. He's located on the corner of 111th and Kedzie, and he's waiting for your call. In times of financial uncertainty, how can you stay on track? Call someone who's invested in your success. Reach out to Tom now, 773-779-0023, or pop in at the office right on 111th and Kedzie. Tell him we sent you. Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing, member SIPC.
Don't want no short tort, man.
Don't want no short tort, man.
Tiny little. Don't want no short tort. Don't want no short tort. Don't want no short tort.
Eeny weeny shrivel will short mort.
Don't want no short tort, man. Don't want no short tort, man.
Eeny weeny shrivel little.
Don't want no short tort, man.
Eeny weeny shrivel little.
Don't want no short tort, man.
Eeny weeny shrivel little.
Don't want.
Eeny weeny shrivel little.
Don't want no short tort, man.
Join us on the phone line right now, our good friend John Streetz from the Streetz Arts Alliance, who normally sits down here and has a bourbon with me, but he's so damn busy getting ready for the big event going on this weekend at Blue Island Beer Company in Blue Island, right off of Old Western Avenue, the Krampus Market, the Krampus Market. What is it, John? What do I call it, Krampus or Krampus?
Let's go Krampus this time. How's it going, Chris? How you doing, Chris?
I'm good, man. So first of all, Krampus is going to be there, right? This is like, if people don't know what the story of Krampus is, maybe that's how we should start. Maybe you should kind of fill them in a little bit. I've seen the movie. Essentially, this is like the evil thing that comes and eats children, or like, curses people who are bad. Like Santa brings toys and Krampus brings death. Like, how does this work?
So my understanding, and I'm not a specialist on Krampus, is he's basically like a deity or a god or something that would kind of whip the children into compliance and being good. And so if the kids were bad, he would kidnap them and in some cases eat them if they were really, really bad. Now, I might be butchering that story, but I don't claim to be a historian on Krampus. I just like to have Krampus at my shows every once in a while.
Right. And if there is a Krampus historian, I want to meet you because you've devoted your life to something very interesting.
I have a feeling that someone will reach out to you in the next 2 weeks wanting to be on your show.
All right. So this thing is coming up on Sunday. It's a Sunday event over at Blue Island Beer Company, noon until 6 p.m. I was at this last year. And I know I mentioned it to you. It's one of my favorite events of the year because, you go to all these different things that are going on around the South Side. And when you find something this unique, I mean, you got a person that's going to be walking around dressed as like a horned thing that like Krampus is going to be walking around this thing. I mean, and just what you bring in there, you bring in all these local artists. But the take on it, it's very different than any other Christmas market. Everybody else is basically doing a Christmas market where they could basically be the exact same thing. They're just in different places. And this is really unique. What makes it stand out? Tell people.
So this Krampus Market not only does it have over 3 dozen artists that are in it. These are all artists that are taking a kind of a dark, macabre spin on some of the things that they're selling. Not only is every single one of them an artist or a hand maker or a tarot reader, but they're all super passionate about what they make. This particular market's going to be more intimate, more diverse, and more awesome than any of the other craft shows that are out there. But I'm a little biased, as the curator.
And the great thing about it is I get to drink craft beer. And they always have a really good selection over there at Blue Island Beer Company. And the way that I try to describe this to people, you're going to walk in and right away, boom, there's stuff there for you to see. And then you kind of work your way through the brewery because you guys open up everything inside the brewery. So they're going to walk amongst where the beers are created, where all the tanks are. There's artists right there. There's vendors right there. You're walking through it's basically a pathway from room to room to room with something new in each room. So it's not it's not just one big auditorium room. It's not like something that's small. You can really kind of get lost in there looking for interesting treasures and things you may not even have thought about as you're going out and doing your holiday shopping. And I think that's better for finding gifts for your friends than hitting Amazon. This is where I'd want to start.
Exactly. Yeah. These are one-of-a-kind items that you're finding at one of my markets, whether you want some really unique ornaments for your tree the Hand of Deck Tarot from Jonathan Grimm art, or maybe some really creepy earrings that say meh, or some bad word I don't want to say on your podcast. So yeah, I mean, there's these fun little ghosts that have fireball in their hands. There's some crocheted Krampuses, earrings that are just out of this world strange with like little babies carrying slices of pie. It's you're going to find something great, something unusual, something weird, and something you definitely want to hide in the closet if you buy it.
It doesn't always have to be super weird too. What's interesting is my daughter got me my favorite gift from last year was this little tray that had a tumbler glass and then 4 different like tasting glasses that were smaller. And it came on this tray that had an insignia burned into the tray. And it was one of the artists that were at the market that she found while she was walking through there. And she had the whole thing custom done with all of the different stops that I had in my radio career on the tasting glasses. And then, which was really cool. And she had like my original morning radio logo like burned into the thing and on the tumbler glass. And it's like my favorite piece in the 9-foot homemade oak bar. And she found an artist that like she saw an example of what he did. And she goes, can you do it with images that I could get to you and surprise my dad? And then the artist went to work on the thing with her, and they collaborated. And she loves going there because she's very into art. She's very into like doing cool things. You walk into a room and like all of the wall art, all of the things that are in there, they're all handcrafted and handmade by her. I can see her one day being somebody who's a vendor at one of your markets. But she went and she found somebody and collaborated and was able to find like the perfect gift for her dad there. And it didn't need to be like, something that was creepy and crazy. I mean, if you're into creepy and crazy, trust me, there's going to be plenty of that at this market, but there's something for everybody there.
Oh, exactly. Whether you want something crazy, something normal, or you just want some bread. I've got, Wanna Pickle's going to be there selling their awesome flavors and varieties of pickles. I'm going to have, someone there selling everything dipped in chocolate. That's KP's Candy Factory. The bread guy is going to be there. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but Quinn Cakes by George.
Oh yeah.
And he's breaking out all of his stops, bringing his 4 most popular breads of the year, including. I don't have that list in front of me, but I would just encourage anyone to go check out the event page on Facebook to find out the breads he's bringing, because he sold out last year in about an hour and a half, and I'm hoping he's going to bring twice as much this year, but I know there's only so much bread you can make in 24 to 48 hours, but I'm hoping, he'll probably sell out pretty early for this show too. But yeah, there's normal stuff, great stuff, unusual stuff you won't find anywhere else.
The Krampus Market, it's going to be at Blue Island Beer Company. It's going to be on Sunday. It kicks off at noon. It goes until 6. Kind of turns into a party afterwards, I'll be honest with you. If you're looking for something to do. And definitely on Old Western Avenue there are so many different places to go check in. And it looks like here, you've got a couple of companies that'll be down the block at Rock Island Public House, right on Old Western Avenue. So it's mainly over at Blue Island Beer Company, but there's such an overflow. You get to walk down the street. The lights are there. It's such a cozy little area there in Blue Island, and you walk into Rock Island Public House as well. So make a day of it coming up this Sunday. And if anybody wants to see more, you're suggesting the Facebook page, right?
Please, yes. It's Krampus Market 2023. You can find it via Bead Streets or the Streets Arts Alliance on Facebook. I'd recommend following and liking all of those.
And if you are a Krampus historian, I would imagine John Streetz will be wearing something tie-dye, and he has a very distinctive beard. It'll be easy to find him and correct him on his pronunciation and his story of Krampus. When you're at the market, go find him. I guarantee he'll have a beer in his hand as well. John, thanks so much for jumping on.
You bet, Chris. Always a pleasure.
John gave you something to do on Sunday. We might as well give you the rest of the bulletin board. The Southside Bulletin Board brought to you by Spoke and Vine Wine Bar and Bottle Shop, northeast corner of 95th and Kedzie. A wine bar that has something for everyone. Great food, an incredible array of wines, and then also you can bring home wines, give them as gifts. If you find something you like, bring it home for yourself. 21 and over, no exceptions. An adult night out or afternoon can be found at spokenvinewines.com. This Saturday the 9th, 11 a.m. until 2 p.m., Crestwood Recreation and Wellness Center is having their Christmas market with Santa on scene. There's some arts and crafts and some cookie decorating, the hot chocolate, you know, the basics. 5331 135th Street in Crestwood. There's also a brunch with Santa on Sunday morning at 10 a.m., 8060 186th Street in Tinley Park. That's the address of Hailstorm Brewing Company. Santa's going to be there from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. They got that great scratch kitchen. Go have a brew, have something to eat, see the claws. Also this weekend, Hometown Holiday is happening in Lamont. It's actually happening on Saturday, 2:30 in the afternoon until 10 p.m. Lamont will be lit up and there'll be holiday arts and crafts, Kris Kringle Market, food trucks all day up and down the street, the village tree lightings at 5 p.m., and of course Santa's gonna be there at 5:30. So much more to see in Lamont this weekend at this festival. See more at lamontdowntown.com. The final item is open auditions, and they're brought to you by sidsauce.net, the only place I get my hot sauce from. So many different flavors delivered to your door. See everything they have to offer and stuff your stockings with Sid Sauce from sidsauce.net. December 10th and 14th, auditions for Little Shop of Horrors at Beverly Arts Center. You can get all the descriptions and audition info at the BeverlyArtsCenter.com. Sister Act the Musical is also holding auditions right after the holidays on the 2nd and 3rd at the Oak View Center in Oak Lawn. Go to olparks.com for that information. A little something for everyone on this episode today, and we will see you next episode. Remember, if you've missed anything, if you want to catch up, if you don't want to miss something in the future, subscribe. It's free. Anywhere podcasts can be found, and always at SouthsidePod.com.
It's the Southside! It's the Southside! It's Southside Pod! Thanks for listening! Thanks for tuning in to the Southside Pod! Y'all come back now, you hear?